Nigerians are counting down to the February 25, 2023 general elections in less than 7 days from now. The electoral umpire, INEC, has put a lot of efforts to ensure free, fair and credible elections as preparations are being concluded and deployments are already being made. President Buhari, in his last nationwide broadcast, has assured Nigerians that the elections will be transparent. He enjoined the electorate to vote for the candidate of their choice. Elections in Nigeria have always attracted the attention of international observers, principally because of the importance of the country in Africa. Expectations are high within and outside the country on the outcome of the elections. This is where our discussion today on Saturday Discourse will be hinged on. Our guest, Head of Election Programs, Yaga Africa, shall be talking to us on that. Stay tuned on the Unity Station for more. I am Mariam George Jitubo. The 36th Ordinary Session of the African Union is underway in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with participating head of states and government seeking to generate greater political commitment in trade as a development agenda for the continent. President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the high-level summit for the last time as head of state. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that President Azali Assoumani of the Comoros took over the chairmanship of the union from his Senegalese counterpart, Macky Sall.
This year's summit of the heads of state and government of the African Union has as its theme acceleration of the African continental free trade area implementation. Participants are seeking to enhance close collaboration with all relevant organs and specialized agencies of the African Union, regional mechanisms and economic communities towards fast-tracking the implementation of the AfCFTA for the benefit of Africa's population. The AfCFTA, they say, presents a unique opportunity for the continent to attain economic emancipation, which will lead to job creation, poverty alleviation, improved welfare, and sustainable development. The opening speeches, however, touched on the various socio-economic, political, and security challenges bedeviling Africa, as well as ways and means of addressing them in the greater interests of the continent and its people.
The ties between the African Union and the United Nations have never been stronger. But I also recognize the enormous tests that Africa, and indeed our world, is facing on virtually every front. The United Nations is proud to be your partner and to work together.
It is time for Africa to feed itself and fully unlock its agricultural potential to feed the world. Until Africa tells her own stories, her image will remain distorted. In this respect, please allow me to reiterate yet again the need to establish an African Union continental media house.
The AfCFTA presents itself as a tool to be deployed by the African Union to position Africa to adequately respond to the challenges of our time. We must dare to invent the economic future of the African continent.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who addressed the summit during a closed session, made a strong case for commitment by member states to hasten the completion of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. This, he said, will go a long way in promoting fair and competitive trade relations towards diversifying their economies and stimulating regional integration with the aim of achieving sustainable growth and development. While stating emphatically that Nigeria fully embraced the spirit of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, President Muhammadu Buhari is, however, worried over the multiplicity of intellectual property bodies on the continent, which he said must be harmonized so that an effective and comprehensive One Africa market can be achieved. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And back in Nigeria, the Nigerian police force is warning groups and individuals against divisive comments and utterances capable of heating up the polity and triggering crisis in the nation. A statement by the force says the warning becomes necessary considering the perceived reactions and utterances of certain groups and individuals as an attempt to heat up the polity and spontaneously instigate the populace against government and its policies for their peculiar interest and gains. The force enjoins the public to desist from any act of violence, hooliganism and vandalism that may jeopardize the ongoing electoral process. Meanwhile, the force is assuring the public that it is working in concert with defense, security and intelligence agencies to provide a peaceful environment for all citizens to conduct their socio-economic activities. Meanwhile, the National Public Security Communications System project was commissioned by the PDP-led administration and was set to provide an integrated multimedia security system. What is the status of the project so far, and how has it impacted on the security architecture of the country, particularly the nation's capital? Toibat Anifuoshe has details.
On the streets of Abuja, the nation's capital, many residents believe that the installation of CCTV cameras would help reduce insecurity.
So having a CCTV camera is something that will greatly improve, securing our environment against not just petty thieves or maybe armed robbers, but in terms of terrorists, kidnappers and the like. So
CCTV camera is good for us with getting criminal and other things.
No, the consequences of getting involved in criminalities, you'll be caught and you know the consequences, so you wouldn't want to with the CCTV camera.
The concern of these residents reminds many Nigerians of a certain CCTV installation project commissioned by the federal government in 2010. The project, called the National Public Security Communication System, was to provide an integrated multimedia security and internal communication system within all security units in the country. The project also involved the installation of CCTV cameras, which started with Abuja and Lagos as a pilot and was supposed to be extended to other states of the Federation.
By the Chinese that attempted to create smart cities, and as part of that process, they installed the hardware in several police divisions across the country. And we were aware that part of the challenges that limited the process was the inability to install a certain component of that process, as it were. We went to some of the police divisions where the hardware has been installed or was installed, but I'm almost certain they have been pilfered now.
Recent data from the Debt Management Office reveals that the country is still servicing the loan obtained from China's Exim Bank for the project. So I sought to find out the status of the project. Efforts to reach the government ministries and agencies involved proved abortive. But the coordinator, Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, believes that the project is still ongoing.
The program has been on for long, even before coming of this administration. The comprehensive program of the provision of CCTV camera in all the streets that have been ongoing is still ongoing.
Now, here is one of the many panels located at strategic locations across the streets of Abuja. Now, this panel is supposed to man CCTV cameras and other components to make it functional. But at the moment, all that can be seen is a vandalized remain. To execute the project at the time, the Nigerian government involved a Chinese company called ZTE Corporation, a tech company laden with controversies. In 2009, a Norwegian telecommunication giant, Telenor, banned ZTE from participating in business opportunities for 6 months due to an alleged breach of its code of conduct. Another contract with the ZTE to build a broadband network for the Philippines government reportedly involved kickbacks to government officials. In the end, the project was cancelled. The National Assembly in Nigeria has launched a series of probes on this project over the years. May Nasser Akogo is a public affairs analyst, and like many Nigerians, he wants to know why nothing seems to come out of such investigations.
Public money is at stake. Let us see penalty. Let us see heads rolling down. Let us see something as a deterrent to the way people are going about scandalizing public money in the name of critical contracts. FCT needs CCTV cameras now more than ever before.
He also appeals to President Muhammadu Buhari to facilitate a thorough and transparent investigation into the project. In Abuja, Toyiba Anifoshe, NTA News.
As part of efforts committed to the development of the younger generation, including persons with disability, Ruby's Development Foundation is set to achieve its goal centered on inspiring youths to attain full potential by facilitating opportunities for leadership and life-building skills training. This was at the official launch of the foundation 1 year after its establishment by human rights advocate Lillian Iyang Akpet. Cecilia Julius tells us more.
Achieving a world where people enjoy full human rights and creates equal opportunities for girls and boys to attain their lives' potentials is the vision of the Ruby's Development Foundation.
I want to see how these children will transform, have the right skills to become agents of change in their various communities and the society at large. The target age group that we work with is age 9 to 20 because we like to catch them young and prepare them appropriately.
The official launch of the foundation, spearheaded by the PDP governorship candidate, Cross River State, Sandy Ojang Ono, represented, pledged support to the foundation in attaining its goals and vision.
You need to realize that calling us here today, being able to raise some money, is just the beginning part. Going forward, unfortunately, we must speak the language of the donors, irrespective of what the challenges on ground actually are.
Stakeholders as well as participants pledge support to its cause.
I'm a change agent myself, and I try to be the change I want to see. So I start by impacting my immediate environment, and by so doing, when I impact them, there's a ripple effect, because once I'm able to influence positively the lives of young people, they influence others as well through peer education, and we make Nigeria the better place that we want it to become.
I can also help her in my own professional way to build the capacity of her organization.
And you see lots of other young girls too, who can share with you what they are learning as a result of their engagement with RDF. So there's already, success on ground right now. In just less than 1 year that RDF has already been operating.
It also calls on good-willing Nigerians, organizations, and communities to lend a support arm to the foundation. Cecilia Julius, NTA News.
Where is Glory?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hello? Where Glow now?
I dare here.
No, Glow, don't go village. Tell all our customer, Abi.
Everybody pay attention. See, now Glow dedicated 10x. Now he might take tension my customers. Now they dash me 10 times the credits when I load. Or even summer me double data join.
Yeah. Wait, so with one Wi-Fi when they give all of us, so you dey enjoy up to 15,000 naira credit and data.
And I say I never finish you. See, una say if we enjoy, if una join Globe Rekete 10X, una go get 1,000 naira welcome credit. You just carry your phone, dial *777#. Finish.
Gulo, you don't win. Una see dey here. Hello, please, I'm looking for Globe. Please save na Globe dey fine. Na Globe dey go. Okay, so
enjoy 10 times the value of your recharge on Globe Rekete 10X. You also get 1,000 naira for calls and data and double data bonus on your subscription.
The pain of war knows no tribe or religion. War engulfs everyone, rich or poor. Homes are destroyed, emptied by the darkness of war. During war, everybody loses, nobody wins. The innocent pays the price of our ego with their blood. They are badly affected by a decision they didn't make. Dialogue is the only way out. We are stronger together. We should never separate. We are one Nigeria. Our oneness, our strength, our beauty.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
All is now set for the 2023 general elections. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu gave the assurance after inspecting the National Coalition Center and ad hoc staff undergoing training in Abuja. Mayor Ogidi reports.
The 2023 general elections, just a week away, and the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, away from his office to the government secondary school, Gariki, Abuja, inspecting ad hoc staff undergoing training. From here off to the International Conference Center, Abuja, housing 3 major venues for the elections: the National Coalition Center, the Situation Room, and Press Center.
We're going to get feedbacks from all the states, what's going on in the states, and also we'll be having press briefing. And in a few days' time, we're going to be having daily briefings here also.
Naira scarcity and the protest generated in some parts of the country, not threats to the elections, the INEC chairman assured.
That, as I keep saying, we will not suffer any hindrances. What is happening around the country, the protest that you have mentioned, this is an issue that we are going to discuss with the security agencies. By this time next week, Nigerians will be voting in over 176,000 polling units nationwide. And the outcome of that process for presidential election will be compiled here, and the choice made by Nigerians for the next president of the country will also be announced at this venue.
That is an assurance coming from a confident national chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to Nigerians that next week, Saturday, 25 of February 2023, presidential and National Assembly elections will hold. That means by Sunday or Monday, Nigerians will know their president and vice president-elect, as well as members of the National Assembly. Until then, my name is Mayor Ogidi from the National Coalition Center, ICC, Abuja.
And to further entrench transparency and accountability in governance, the Public Complaints Commission, PCC, will deploy its workforce to observe the forthcoming general elections at all polling units across the country. Chief Commissioner of the PCC, Abimbola Ayo Yusuf, disclosed this to newsmen in Abuja. Ifoma Ojinta reports. The report will come your way in the course of the bulletin. Moving on, the FCT INEC says it is almost 100% ready for next Saturday's 25th February general elections. Aisha Obali reports that the commission says all non-sensitive materials have been distributed to the 6 area councils.
FCT INEC, it is a case of proper planning and adequate preparations, with less than 10 days for Nigerians and FCT residents inclusive to go to the polls to select leaders that will pilot the affairs of the nation for another 4 years. INEC says they are almost at the finish line in terms of preparations, with the area council's election and mock election at 4 polling centers. INEC is assuring that the functionality of the beavers will be optimal.
The first series of training was with the security personnel. And then last Saturday we did the training for the SPOs, the supervisory presiding officers. And right now, as we speak, the training for the presiding officers is going on. All of this came from what we harnessed from the portals that we opened. Almost everything was digitalized so that we could be on the move and do what needs to be done effectively.
The issue of security also remains an integral part of the electioneering process, and as such, series of engagement with various security agencies and bodies have been ongoing to ensure adequate security on election day.
We are ready to provide the needed support to the police during the exercise self-conduct, which is the election.
On the side of civil society organizations, party supporters and Nigerians, the tone is set as they remain hopeful for credible, free and fair elections.
Gotten the necessary nod of the Electoral Commission to observe and monitor the election in every polling booth, collation center, and at every venue where election is carried out all over the country.
I'm supposed to vote in Abuja. Please don't say I don't have my PVC here. So I will travel to my state.
I want them to do better to the masses, most especially people living with disabilities.
FCT has 6 area councils and 2,822 polling units. INEC has also advised eligible voters to check for their polling unit or from the INEC website in case of migration, which is in line with INEC strategy of decongesting overcrowded polling units. In Abuja, Aisha Obali, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio is the head of election programs, YAGA, Paul James. Glad to have you join us in the studio.
Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, first and foremost, what do you think the average Nigerian expects from the forthcoming election?
Who is an average Nigerian is a question to us, but what Nigerians expect is nothing but the best, especially from the election management body, especially as we know the kind of resources that have been committed to ensure we have a good elections. This is an election that we're told the budget for the election is about 305 billion naira. This was even before all the inflation and all of the attacks that also happened to INEC, which I'm sure by now there may have been some add-on to the commission. So with that kind of expenses, especially with the dire economic strait that the country is facing, you don't expect that people that are managing the process should toil with the process. So a lot has been invested in this, and then the expectations are high, especially on the part of the election management body, to give Nigeria a new narrative to the conduct of elections in the country.
In previous elections, there were cases of snatching of ballot boxes and all that. Do you think the new technology introduced will be able to address some of this?
Well, you can't take out the human elements completely from the conduct of elections, because we are all social beings, and as social beings sometimes people tend to react based on whatever they see happening around them. But to a large extent, we believe the introduction of technologies will deepen the integrity of the process and will help also in the acceptance of the process. What technology will ensure in this process is that voting by proxy will be eliminated, and it will ensure also that it is the actual voters that will come out to participate in the process, because for the first time we are going to see now that election will be determined now based on the number of voters that are accredited and not necessarily based on the number on the register. This is based off what the electoral act has, what we have in the new electoral act. And that is why we're seeing, for instance, there has been a lot of eagerness on the part of Nigerians to collect their PVCs, because the PVC now is going to be that guarantee or that assurance for participation, which is key. But beyond that also, it is only when a voter is authenticated by the technology and also verified, that biometrics is verified by the technology before they will be able to vote. So to a large extent, those incidences we used to see in the past may not necessarily be there, but then don't also rule out what politicians may want to start doing. We may begin to see them employ other tactics, because the law is also clear. In the where there is violence, for instance, the election and the location could be cancelled, and where there are also other encumbrances that will affect the conduct of the process, then of course definitely the election at that location will be cancelled. So politicians could be looking at exploring those negative side of the process as well.
Well, Nigerians are hoping and expecting for credible leaders. How do you react to this?
Of course, the options are before Nigerians. What we have seen also in recent time, especially the kind of enthusiasm we have seen and the increase in participation. That reawakening, I think, started from the party primaries that happened. In the past, Nigerians used to wait until close to the election to engage. But now the engagement started from the party primaries. The moment that happened, we saw the surge in the interest to even register as voters that even necessitated the commission extending the time for registration. But then I also like how people have sustained that momentum from the period of registration until now. People are beginning to believe that their votes do count. They are also beginning to believe that they have the power is in their hand to change the outcome or to change whatever they want and feel will best address their concerns.
Well, thank you very much. I've been speaking with the head of election programs, YAGA, Paul James. Moving on, and now sports. After 47 sporting activities between 6 houses, Green House finally emerged winner at the inter-house competitions as Sheikh Abubakar Gumi Academy from Akpanyi witnessed the event.
Match pass, sack race, egg race, 100-meter race, relay race, and even inter-school races were some activities that dominated the events. The competition is an aftermath of 3 weeks intensive training and sporting activities between the 6 houses. The principal said it is a means of relaxing the students and sporting young talents.
This process, we were able to get very good, talented athletes. And of course, if we can get them at this age and we motivate them, they can do well in future.
It was fantastic, it was nice, everything, alhamdulillah, it was successful. So far, there must be a winner, there must be a loser in every game. So far, everybody tried, but definitely there must be a winner. Advise them, next time they should put more effort.
It was a lot of fun, great and nice.
I'm really happy, it all went well, the environment